This is your grandmother.
My great grandmother, right?
It's your grandmother.
It's my grandmother,
Your
great grandmother.
Yeah.
She was a doll. Coming from Europe in her 60s, she was 64 years old and couldn't speak English. How in the world she managed to go to a Sofsky's orphanage by streetcar.
What do you mean to a Sofsky's?
She used to go to the children's orphanage, pick up either sweaters or socks that needed repair, take a big bundle home, repair everything, take it back to the orphanage.
You're kidding.
She was 64 years old.
Really?
And she used to go by streetcar. I don't know how she did it.
So she came, who did she come with?
Bella?
Before you?
No, after us.
Oh, after you and...
After us.
Uh-huh.
Much after us.
Her husband was gone already by then?
He was killed during the Russian...
Oh.
One night we were awakened in the middle of the night. He opened the door for somebody. He didn't know who it was, and he was shot right there and then.
Uh-huh.
But she didn't get shot.
Pardon?
She wasn't shot.
No, well, she wasn't at the door.
I see.
Had she been there, she would have gotten the same thing. So, and a lot of other things precipitated that we were just anxious. I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
That my parents just had to leave Russia because life, when the communists came, and he was considered a bourgeois at a hardware store.
Your father?
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, the first thing everybody had to do was share whatever they belonged with the communists. Anyway, it was one thing and another, and we just had to leave. Ted, I think, was barely 6 years old.
Not Ted. Bill.
Bill. And I was 8 and a half. And we left in the middle of the night, and we had to crawl over mountains by foot. And Bill's feet froze to the shoes. I'll never forget the way he yelled when they had to take the shoes off.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Those are the little things that happened. And we, do you want to know where we went? We went to Romania.
Right.
Which was the closest border to Russia at the time. And we stayed there for 3.5 years.
Right.
And after that...
But who of the family, besides any of the others, is that, when did Max, when did the others...
Max was here.
He was here already.
He came here to avoid military service in Russia.
Oh, okay.
He was a single young man when he came here. And so was Shandel here.
Where's
I'll
the
show you
picture
Shandel.
of the three of them?
This was Shandel.
Right.
That was an aunt of yours.
Right.
She was...
Great aunt.
She came to Winnipeg as a domestic to the Brownstone family. That's where she was.
So she came before you?
That was the reason we came to Winnipeg, because my dad had family here.
Uh-huh.
So it was your dad and your mom?
Pardon?
Your Hannah and...
Barry, it was my dad and my mom.
And the 3 kids?
But my
or there was 4?
grandmother, I said that she was an exceptional person.
They left. She stayed behind.
She stayed behind. But she knew when we were leaving, the day we were leaving, she came with an orphan, Rivka. And she said to my mother, "This is an orphan child. Both parents were killed. She has no relatives. She'll bring you luck. Take her with you." None of us knew her.
Yeah. So did she go with you?
So my mother says, okay, she took her, and she took her brother, Shloima, besides the children. My mother had open arms. And they were with us right through in Romania. What are you looking at?
I'm wondering what's making that noise. But
Pardon?
no, nothing. So, who in your party when you left? You had the mother and the father. You had 3 kids, plus
Right.
the 2 orphans. Was there anybody else the age of your mother and father that were coming
No,
too?
they were both the Rivka, the orphan girl, and my uncle.
Yeah.
They were much older than we were.
Okay, so they were teenagers? Teenagers?
No. They were, I think, somewhere around the 20s.
Okay, but your parents they must have been in their late 20s, right?
Pardon?
Your father, how old? He was 28 or?
No, he was in his 30s.
What?
How old was Pa when they came? What year was he born? Your father, do you remember?
Yes, he was born in 87.
In
And
87,
you
and
guys-
they came in 1924 to Canada.
You arrived in 24, or
Yeah,
you?
April.
That means you left in 20.
We were 3 years in
1920.
Romania, though. 3.5 years in
So
Romania.
he was 30.
16 and yeah.
He was a young 30-something.
Yes,
Now, but my question is, when they left
yes.
and they had all these kids, were there any other adults as well? I guess the 2
No.
orphans.
I
Were.
thought
Our
you
family
came-
was all...
I know, but wasn't there other families? I was told that you went with the Pitches.
That was when we met them. Not from Russia.
Oh, not from Russia.
No, we met them afterwards as we were going to, after we were leaving Romania, because we didn't know them before. In their travels they met up, and we were on the boat together. And we were on a refugee boat for a whole month on the ocean before we landed. We landed in Halifax. So that's where they met them, and they met also the Mandels also on the boat, not in Russia.
Oh,
We were alone.
between Russia and Romania.
No, we had no association
Okay.
with anybody. It was just the
I didn't know that.
family. And my dad opened up a store in Romania.
Oh, yeah?
Yes, he had a store. And Mother was with him all the time in business. And then he depleted the store.